Hi everyone, Lisa Haven here, and Barack Insane Obama is making his final last blows before leaving the White House come when Donald Trump is inaugurated. Anyhow, he went over to Athens, and in his final press conference with the Prime Minister of Athens there, he had some pretty stark words to say about patriotic views. Yeah, as in nationalism. When he was asked this question, which I'm about to show you about Donald Trump, he had some pretty stark words. Take a listen to the question, and then I'm going to show you a piece of his response. Here it is.
I wonder, do you feel any responsibility for the election of Donald Trump? And in the broader context, when you see his election, when you look at politicians like Theresa May, Marie Le Pen, do you believe that it is either a movement away from or an outright rejection of your worldview? And Mr. Prime Minister, you've also talked about your concerns about the rise of the extreme right in general, and about Donald Trump in particular. You said, I hope we will not face this evil. Do you believe Donald Trump or his ideas are still evil? And if so, do you believe your comments and the comments of other European leaders will make it more difficult for you to work with him? Thank you.
Pretty good question, if you ask me. Where is the mainstream media asking questions like that here in America? Oh, I know. They won't do it. Why? Well, because they're bought and paid for by progressive leftists. What do you know? Anyhow, the question is pretty blunt. Donald Trump, it was Donald Trump elected Mr. Obama because of your crappy rule. Yeah, you screwed up this country for one thing, and I believe that sparked a movement. Bush did a lot of damage, and you did a heck of a lot more of damage, making our debt go higher and pulling in socialist, communist things into our country. What do you have to say about how Donald Trump got elected, Mr. Obama? And here's what he says. Now, before he says the clip I'm going to show you, I'm just going to kind of tell you. First, he says he was surprised at Donald Trump presidency, blah, 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 blah. History moves in all kinds of different directions. People elected Trump under stress. Yeah, we were just stressed out. About what? Oh, you. Okay, about you, Mr. Obama. Well, here's what else he had to say, and quite frankly, it's going to tick you off. Here's that clip.
A pretty healthy majority of the American people agree with my worldview on a whole bunch of things. And I know that begs the question, well, how is it that somebody who appears to have a very different worldview just got elected? As I said, sometimes people just feel as if we want to try something to see if we can shake things up. And that, I suspect, was a significant phenomenon. I do believe, separate and apart from any particular election or movement, that we are going to have to guard against a rise in a crude sort of nationalism or ethnic identity or tribalism that is built around an us and a them. And I will never apologize for saying that the future of humanity and the future of the world is going to be defined by what we have in common, as opposed to those things that separate us and ultimately lead us into conflict.
Oh boy. So, we're going to have to stand our guard against a crude form of nationalism. You mean like patriotism, those who don't want globalism knocking at their door, those who don't want a new world order because it always leads to a big bang, never goes out right. Those of us like that? Is that who you're talking about, Mr. Obama? And where have I heard similar rhetoric by you before? Oh yeah, I know, at his final UN address. Check out what he said about our sovereignty and how we should go along with giving up some of our freedoms for a new world order. If you haven't seen this yet, you need to watch it. Let me play that clip. You might have seen it, but if not, here's where we've heard it before.
In order to move forward, though, we do have to acknowledge that the existing path to global integration requires a course correction. Because too often those trumpeting the benefits of globalization have ignored inequality within and among nations, have ignored the enduring appeal of ethnic and sectarian identities, have left international institutions ill-equipped, underfunded, under-resourced in order to handle transnational challenges. And as these real problems have been neglected, alternative visions of the world have pressed forward, both in the wealthiest countries and in the poorest. Religious fundamentalism, the politics of ethnicity or tribe or sect, aggressive nationalism, a crude populism, sometimes from the far left, but more often from the far right, which seeks to restore what they believe was a better, simpler age free of outside contamination. We cannot dismiss these visions. They are powerful. They reflect dissatisfaction among too many of our citizens. I do not believe those visions can deliver security or prosperity over the long term, but I do believe that these visions fail to recognize at a very basic level our common humanity. Moreover, I believe that the acceleration of travel and technology and telecommunications, together with a global economy that depends on a global supply chains, makes it self-defeating ultimately for those who seek to reverse this progress. Today, a nation ringed by walls would only imprison itself. So the answer cannot be a simple rejection of global integration. Instead, we must work together to make sure the benefits of such integration are broadly shared, and that the disruptions, economic, political, and cultural, that are caused by integration are squarely addressed. And we can only realize the promise of this institution's founding to replace the ravages of war with cooperation if powerful nations, like my own, accept constraints. Sometimes I'm criticized in my own country for professing a belief in international norms and multilateral institutions, but I am convinced that in the long run, giving up some freedom of action, not giving up our ability to protect ourselves or pursue our core interests, but binding ourselves to international rules over the long term enhances our security.
So there you have it yet again. What does he talk about? Nationalism being a problem. One of the first things he said in that speech, and that we need a course correction as in screw America and go into the New World Order. That's what he said in a nutshell. He said aggressive nationalism, crude populism, the benefits of New World Order, and that we need to give up our sovereignty. This is a common thread that we're hearing in a lot of his speeches. Let me tell you something. He's making plans before leaving office, and something is definitely underway. They didn't want Trump in. They didn't expect Trump to make it in. Well, it's because they don't understand. We don't want a new world order ruling our country. And I think they do understand, but they're trying to get us to go along with their plan, and we're not having it. Anyhow, wanted to bring you the latest on that with Obama and his last speech in Athens and then his prior one, kind of linking them together because I want you guys to understand that there is a common thread in that. Well, please don't forget to check out my sponsors here. www.foodforliberty.com/Haven offers a ton of, they have water filters, they have an organic bucket, food storage. You need to be prepared because we don't know what's ahead. And with Trump coming up, well, there could be a lot of tension rising against such administration. So please make sure you're prepped and ready to go. Also, please check out my sponsor at getthetea.com. He has fabulous stuff that will detox your body from the inside out. Please try his super strength tea, and everything here helps fund what I do. And finally, Protovite. It's havenhealth.com. And let me tell you, the Protovite has changed my life, and the Brain Force has changed my father's life along with the Protovite. So please make sure you check out those products as well. Anyhow, thanks again for tuning in. This is Lisa Haven signing out.